Hello everybody! Why am I doing a Chris Reagan impression? I shouldn't be doing that. Not at the beginning of the video. I'm not Chris Reagan. I respect him. He's probably never gonna see this, but hey. Hello everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Juan Paolini and I thought that this was a very interesting week for PlayStation. Last week I made a video about Xbox and all the games that are coming in the coming months, but this week we had a lot of news coming in from PlayStation side, and some of it was good, some of it was bad, some of it was even controversial. I just recorded a podcast where we missed some of these because some of this happened after we recorded, and I just wanted to get in front of the camera and speak to this on this week. So let's just begin. We got a couple of little updates which are somewhat negative, but not the end of the world. So the first one is Doom Eternal update, the next gen update, which was announced in the Microsoft plus Bethesda showcase at E3. It was supposed to come in June 29th, and it did. And supposedly there's two problems, and which I think are very, very important, which is one, there's no way to carry over your save from PS4 to PS5. For some reason, and this is, I think, kind of Sony's fault, the saves from PS4 are not compatible. I don't know if it's a formatting issue, because I mean, I'm not too deep into the engineering of the PS5 and the PS4, but I do know that they're not compatible. There's been ways to carry over, for example, Marvel's Avengers from PS4 to PS5, and it is kind of a very unnecessarily lengthy process when in Series X you kind of just load up the game and you kind of carry it forward with what you were doing, and the game just recognizes the new hardware and takes advantage of that with new resolutions or frame rates or whatever. So yeah, I think that on Sony's side, the decision, I'm sure they had good reason for it, because they're not going to just bring problems onto their side for free. Doesn't really make much sense. But the decision to change this formatting in whatever way that happened was not a good one. And here we're seeing this problem where it's also on Bethesda's side maybe to not have included this option to do this. I mean, of course, that's they're at fault as well there. I'm not sure if this is one of those ways to make it a little bit more enticing on Series X where you don't have this problem. I don't think so, because this would be a very anti-consumer move from id Software's part to just point a middle finger to everybody and have them begin the game from the beginning on PS5. But no, I'm sure they're gonna find a way to do this. And then the other problem that the PS5 is having with the Doom Eternal update is that it's supposedly not running for some people even. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had this problem where you have a software installed maybe from a different account within your PS5 or PS4 where it has like a little lock sign on it where you have it there but you just can't boot it. I know this is happening for some people and it's very unfortunate. Doom Eternal is a great game, an amazing game from last year, and yeah, I mean, this is really unfortunate, but it is the reality. The next story I wanted to include in this video is that Greedfall, the game developed by Spiders and published by Focus Home Interactive, just released a next-gen patch for the game. Everybody who owns the game will have access to this patch. I believe that they also included a new expansion with this, which is really cool. So the thing with this is that Greedfall was offered in January's PlayStation Plus games. It's also on Game Pass. The Game Pass version has access to this next-gen patch, but the PS Plus version doesn't. So that's kind of another loss. On the PlayStation side, this is definitely not good news. It is unfortunate, and I understand the frustration from Greedfall fans on the PlayStation side. So now let's move on to more positive things for PlayStation. In this case, on June 29th, it was announced that PlayStation has acquired Housemarque. Housemarque is a Finnish developer. They've done games like Returnal, which was a recent PS5 exclusive that was very successful in its own right. I'm not really sure how much it has sold. I don't think they've released those numbers up until now, but I do know that it garnered a lot of attention critically and from fans and stuff. So I'm sure that for them it was a win. If it was not a win, I'm not even sure that they would have bought them. So definitely they like this studio. They've had success with them, and they've also done a lot of games, mostly exclusive for PlayStation, like Nex Machina, Dead Nation, and Resogun, which was one of the PS4 launch games. So this second-party relationship has been going for a long time. They've worked together a lot, and seemingly it has gone very well. CEO and co-founder of Housemarque did say, his name is Ilari Kuitinen, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm hoping I did. They said that they will be doing even bigger games from now on. I know that for some people this may be a disappointment, because they've mostly been known for doing these arcadey, isometric, top-down games, which have been really, really good. I haven't really played any of those. I've only played Returnal. I really loved it. I platinumed it. That kind of soured me on the game a little bit because it's a very tedious platinum. Other than that, it was a really great game, and if they're kind of aiming higher for bigger games, I'm not really into this whole thing about a bigger game equals a better game, not necessarily. But for them, I know that Returnal was a big step forward, or a big step, upwards in terms of being more AAA quality kind of game. And if they're aiming higher, that's just music to my ears. Aiming higher is always something that I'll support. In terms of how this is gonna affect PlayStation players or PlayStation itself, I believe that for consumers, this is going to be maybe more of the same, in terms of we have been getting these second-party games where they have been exclusive to PlayStation. This will continue, but now they're going to be first-party. So this is more of a change for the team, for PlayStation Studios. They're going to have, I'm guessing, more support from PlayStation, even more than they had before, which is good for them. Congratulations to them on this big acquisition, this big win for them. But for us, the consumers, it's probably going to remain the same. We're going to have more, even bigger, as the CEO Ilari Kuitinen is saying, games for PlayStation, which we had already been having. So that's good. That's great. So accompanying this Housemarque news was another interesting, also unsurprising, because I don't think anybody was surprised about the Housemarque acquisition, but PlayStation Japan tweeted the same picture that they tweeted, where it was like a background with all these PlayStation exclusive games, and instead of having the Housemarque logo, it had the Bluepoint Games logo, which, similar to Housemarque, Bluepoint Games has been working closely with PlayStation for a lot of years now. They did the Shadow of the Colossus remake, which was beautiful. I really recommend it if you haven't played it. They also did, of course, the Demon's Souls remake, which I would recommend even more because I'm a big Souls fan. And yeah, they've done a fantastic job. Just like with Housemarque, it's a relationship that's been going on a lot of years consecutively with a lot of games. So, everybody knows that at some point they're going to be acquired. It's more of a when, not an if. But yeah, this was really funny because I'm imagining that the person who exported this PNG or whatever it is just kind of forgot to turn off the Bluepoint Games logo layer and turn on the Housemarque layer. This is something that it's a very easy mistake to make. Or maybe the person who tweeted it has had these two options there. They chose the wrong one. The thing is that this is not a mistake that happens by chance. It's not like they were trying to see how it looked with the Bluepoint logo, just to see how it looks, but it's actually a Housemarque acquisition. They have nothing to do with Bluepoint Games. Come on, let's just be realistic here. This is not really Hideo Kojima, Blue Box Studios kind of conspiracy. This is pretty obvious. So yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see this soon. However, the twist here was that the next acquisition that Sony announced was not only a couple days later, but it wasn't Bluepoint Games. It was Nixxes Software, which is a company I had never heard before. And then when I did a little bit of research, they are this support studio that has a lot of experience working on PC ports. They've worked a lot with Square Enix, doing things like the Tomb Raider reboot series. They did Marvel's Avengers. They also did Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Underrated. Played. This was actually pretty interesting, not only because I didn't know about the studio before, but it shows a lot of what PlayStation's objectives are, what they're trying to do. We know that they've been bringing all these PlayStation exclusive to PC, slowly but surely. They brought Days Gone recently. They also brought Horizon last year. There is talk about, of course, Ghost of Tsushima, which we will talk about later because there's also news about that. So this shows a very clear intention that they want this PlayStation games coming to PC initiative to move forward, to be even more present in the future, which I think it's exciting. I'm not one of those people that criticizes this move. I mean, I do think, when I think about it very selfishly, I do think that one of the cool things about exclusives is not the fact that nobody else has it, but the fact that because it's exclusive, they have the chance to kind of take advantage of the hardware in more of a substantial way. We saw that with, for example, The Last of Us Part 1. When that came out on PS3, it kind of looked next gen for that time, which was really, really impressive. So now when I buy a PlayStation, I mean, if they are like day one to PC also, I am gonna have in the back of my mind that this new exclusive looks really good on PS5, is running great, but it could run better on another machine that I don't really have. Well, I do have it, but I don't have the right graphics card or something. So that is a little bit disappointing, but I don't really care in the end, because I know that for them the main platform is always going to be PlayStation. So they're gonna kind of, I don't know whether it is through trophies or in some way they're gonna try to strive for PlayStation to be the best place to play them. I'm confident of that. I hope that. As I said before, there is also an update of Ghost of Tsushima where they announced the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. This is exciting in some way and also a little disconcerting in other ways. I'm gonna give a little information as to why that is. So just to give you a rundown if you haven't heard of this, the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is gonna be coming to both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. The new updates or the new features that it's going to have is of course PlayStation 5 features, which include dynamic 4K resolution targeting 60 FPS, haptic feedback and adaptive trigger support for the controllers, enhancements to 3D audio, which I'm assuming that the PS4 version already had 3D audio, although I didn't experience that because I didn't have 3D audio headphones at the time, but this just suggests that. It also will have Japanese lip sync, which is, for me, it's a big thing, because playing the game in Japanese felt to me more natural. It's very disconcerting and very weird to, I don't know, be in Japan, having all these samurai, all these badass things, and then having them speak English. It's just, to me, it's weird. I know that a lot of people hate having to read subtitles, but for me, the language thing kind of helps me feel more immersed. Just like with, for example, A Plague Tale Innocence, I played that game in French with subtitles because it was in France. I mean, why am I hearing these people talking in English? Doesn't make sense to me. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do it. I support you. And then the most exciting thing that it's featuring is the Iki Island expansion. We're going to have a new island to explore, new missions, new story, new enemies and stuff like that, which is really exciting. I mean, that's like the main reason I would go to that, because I mean, I already platinumed the game. I already saw everything that I needed to see. So, I mean, it is exciting to me to have all these visual fidelity updates. But to me, it would be a little bit frustrating because I already ran through the game and I did everything that I wanted to do. But the fact that I'm going to be able to enjoy that in a new story, in this new expansion, is really, really exciting. Also, in the trailer, they kind of sold it that it has the Legends co-op mode, which is kind of weird to me because the Legends mode was a really, really good mode that I just dabbled in a little bit. It was free at the time, which I thought was really good on PlayStation and Sucker Punch's side, that they offered such value. But the fact that they're selling it like it's part of the director's cut is a little weird, because that was already before. You know, it's not really new. It's included, of course, if you've never played the game, if you're a new player. Yeah, I mean, you should know about it, that the fact that it's there, because it's part of the whole package. But they're kind of making it seem that it's coming now with the director's cut, and that's not really true. I find it a little disingenuous. Perhaps I misinterpreted it, but that's just how it looked to me. There's also going to be a free patch for everybody that you don't have to buy the director's cut, which that's what I'm going to get into now. And this free patch is going to include lock-on for the combat, which is something that a lot of people criticized. I kind of thought it was a little weird that it didn't have it, but in the end I just got used to it and it wasn't really an issue after that. And there's also going to be new accessibility options, which of course I'm glad that that's coming. Not for me personally, but I mean the fact that people are going to have access to this that maybe didn't before, or the fact that it's going to be easier for some people to play it, awesome. I think that's really, really, really great. And PlayStation's been really good about that. I know Naughty Dog did a great job with accessibility things on Last of Us Part 2. So yeah, awesome. So let's get into price, because this is where it gets a little strange. So the PS5 version, of course, like all new PS5 games from Sony mostly, it's a $70 game. It's going to be $69.99. The PS4 version is going to be $59.99. The upgrade from the base Ghost of Tsushima to the Director's Cut on PS4, this is not including any PS5 things, is $19.99. And this will give you access to none of the visual things, of course, because that's a PlayStation 5 thing. It'll give you access to the lip sync, the Japanese lip sync, and the Iki Island expansion. I was a little bit weirded out when I saw these prices yesterday, and now I'm a little bit maybe less harsh on it, but the fact of the matter is that we don't really know the size of the expansion, so it's hard to gauge if this is good value or not. The upgrade from PS4 to PS5 Director's Cut is $29.99. This would give you access to the PlayStation 5 features, of course, obviously, the Iki Island expansion, and the Japanese lip sync. Whether that is worth it or not, we will see. I did see that the guys and girls at Push Square did an article, which I thought that they did a little pun there that I loved, which is that PlayStation's for the payers, and this of course is a spin on the for the players slogan that they had last gen, or maybe they still have that. I'm not really sure. Doesn't matter. I thought that was really clever, and they were complaining a little bit about how much they're charging for the upgrade, especially considering that on Xbox you don't really need to even worry about upgrades. I mean, everything that says smart delivery, which I think is almost every title that's cross-gen now, is smart delivered. Everything is free. There are within PlayStation, I know that, for example, recently, Jedi Fallen Order, that poster over there, Jedi Fallen Order gave people a free update to the PS5 version, which apparently runs great. And even if you had the game on digital or disc, they gave you like a free pass to get the free digital version. Coming back to Ghost of Tsushima, it's a little weird, where in a world where most of these next-gen upgrades from high-level AAA titles are being offered for free, they're charging this. Of course, they're not only charging this for the update, they're of course including the Iki Island expansion, but I mean, yeah, I think that what we need is a little bit more clarity on the size of all this. I don't think it's necessarily a bad value. I'm not really sure what to think, but I'm excited because I did love that game. If there's more content and if I'm gonna enjoy it with the PS5 flair and you know, 4K 60 haptic feedback and all that, I'm really happy about coming back. So on that end, I mean, I'm excited. So the last point for this video is going to be the Platform X controversy. This is very interesting because it gives us a little insight on something that we would never have, which is kind of the internal dealings between, in this case, indie developers and Sony PlayStation. In this case, the developer, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, because I saw his name pronounced on another podcast, Iain Garner. He's the co-founder of Doctrine, which is a video game publisher of indie titles. I saw a little bit through their catalog, and I didn't recognize much of it, but I did recognize a game called Vigil: The Longest Night, which is a game that I've had wishlisted on Switch for a long time. It looks amazing, like a kind of a 2D Souls with a very interesting art style. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that at some point. But yeah, back to the story. He made a thread on Twitter that was really interesting, where he kind of explains his frustrations with Sony and how little support indie developers get from them. So I'm just going to read through this and then speak about it as I go. So this is Iain Garner from Doctrine. Okay, I am mad enough to burn some bridges because honestly, what's the point of a bridge that I am not allowed to cross? So here's a thread about Platform X. I will not be defining Platform X, but it's the operator of a very successful console and does not have Games Pass, although it is Game Pass, but whatever. And right now we know that it's not Xbox, so it's like, is it Sony? Is it Nintendo Switch? We will find out. Platform X gives developers no ability to manage their games. In order to get promotion, you must jump through hoops, beg and plead for any level of promotion, and a blog is not as good as they think it is. If Platform X does not like your game, no fanfare, no feature, no love. So this is another clue. Blog, the PlayStation blog, is one of the marketing tools that they always use to announce their things or their favorite things or whatever. And this kind of already excludes Nintendo. Makes it a little obvious now that it's Platform X is PlayStation. There is nothing you can do to fix this. Wishlists have no effect, so all your personal marketing means nothing to Platform X. All that matters is their evaluation. How is this evaluation done? Dunno, they don't share that. Nor will they share the value they ascribe to my game. So before you launch, you need to 1. Develop the game for Platform X, 2. Get through their incredibly difficult lot check spread over 3 generations of backend software, 3. Submit a Platform X specific trailer, 4. Write a Platform X blog, which 5. Submit multiple forms for social media. Oh, for 4 and 3, which are submit a Platform X specific trailer, write a Platform X blog, you need to go through an account manager. When asked how to get an account manager, we were told, I'm not sure, they are assigned by resources. And as we now know, there's no way to know what resource level you have been assigned. By the way, you cannot even do a launch discount without their approval, and it is very limited. That's right, you can't do the thing that every other platform does, meaning the Platform X owners will always get the worst deal. Oh, but don't worry, there's a way to guarantee you get featured. All you have to do is spend a very reasonable minimum of 25,000 USD to get featuring. Oh, and then 30% of your subsequent earnings. Bargain. Now, when your game is on the platform, likely without any support from Platform X, you may think, no problem, I can sync up discounts on Platform X with Steam and others. Wrong. Discounts are invite only, and they are also very limited. It's been literal years since we could put a title of ours in discount, and I spoke to some very popular devs today and they had the same experience. So even if your game does well at launch and thrives on other platforms, you may still never be invited? Why? Who knows? In conclusion, Platform X is super successful and awesome hardware, but their backend process is straight out of the early 2000s. I have no idea how to succeed in this platform and they won't tell me. Even if I do succeed, they may screw me anyway. So for any gamers who have wandered in here, next time you're unhappy about your game never being discounted on Platform X, or a game you want not launching on Platform X, please go and complain to Platform X. I am going to walk my dogs to calm the fuck down. I may have more thoughts later, I hope not. And please bear in mind, I am an English-speaking British guy who can travel the world, attend showcases, shake hands, and meet with power in these situations. If this is my experience, imagine what it's like for someone without my level of privilege. So that was a lengthy read, I hope you stuck around. And now I did see through the replies on Twitter that Mike Rose is also a part of a video game publisher called No More Robots. They've done games like Descenders, which has been a really big success on Game Pass, for example. I recently saw him in a podcast with Mr. Matty Plays on Defining Duke Ultimate, I believe it was. And they spoke about how Xbox and Game Pass have been really helpful for them in terms of marketing, in terms of reaching more people, reaching more players, and all that. So this guy replies, this sounds strangely familiar, which is of course in support of what Lane is saying. And this is of course not good news at all. This is actually very, very disappointing if it is true, which I have no reason to believe it is not. And it's funny because when I think back on PlayStation's history with indies, I remember that in the beginning of the PS4 generation, they were actually touting themselves as the home for the indie. And I remember I played a lot of indie titles in that era, let's say 2013, 2014, games like Fez, games like The Swapper, and they of course always tried to have all these indie titles accompanying maybe AAA titles when it came to things like PS Plus offerings, the monthly ones. And slowly but surely they kind of drifted from that. They drifted towards having more their own exclusives, which of course are great. I believe that in terms of exclusives and in terms of almost overall games, they're the highest quality games out there. Things like God of War, The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man. I mean, these are very high quality studios, high quality games. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm glad that they gave us that, right? Like that they partnered with these studios, that they had made these acquisitions like Insomniac and things like that. Even though Insomniac was not acquired at the time of Spider-Man 1. I mean, yeah, there's no denying that the exclusives are amazing. But it was very noticeable how they drifted from that were the home of the indies, especially when the Nintendo Switch came around, where that seemed to be the new home of the indies. Of course, along with Steam, which has always been kind of the official home of the indies. If you're hearing that, that's actually my dog. She's snoring right there. Of course, Xbox, when they were kind of struggling last gen, they didn't really know what to do between not having no exclusives and blah blah blah. Then when Game Pass started to come around, I think they did a very aggressive move to be the new home of the indies, which I think they kind of are now, along with the Switch. Because I mean, the Switch is kind of the best place to play some of these games, because there is no real difference between the fidelity for games like, for example, Cyber Shadow on Switch or on Series X, the same kind of quality. But having the ability to take it on the go is the differentiating factor in this case. That makes the Switch automatically the best place to play. However, Game Pass, having offered a game like Cyber Shadow, which I just mentioned, for free within the subscription, kind of is the competition to that portable thing. And now with xCloud, that unique ability for the Switch is kind of even maybe going obsolete, quote unquote, because Xbox is going to really have everything. It's going to have the subscription thing, it's going to have the portable thing, it's going to have the console thing, and maybe even the TV thing in the future. So seeing this going back to PlayStation, it's kind of disappointing, because the impression that it gives me is that PlayStation was like, yeah, indies, we need you now in the beginning of the PS4 generation, because we don't really have that many games at the moment, because they didn't. I mean, I bought the PS4 and it was kind of gathering dust, and I was playing the Wii U back then. And we know the Wii U was a total failure, but at the time I was playing things like Wind Waker HD, Pikmin 3, and stuff like that. And in PlayStation, I didn't really have much to play. So at the moment that they needed the indie scene, they were like, yeah, welcome here, come here, and we'll give you all this, and yeah, you're so welcome here. And then when they started like catching their stride and being more successful with the PS4 and with their own exclusives and everything, they're like, oh, we don't need you anymore, so okay, bye. That's kind of the impression that it gives me. It's very disappointing. I'm not sure. I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because it's not really a positive thing that I'm saying. But I think I may not be, and that is disappointing. I don't really know where PlayStation goes from here, if they reply to this, to Iain Garner, if they just shift a little bit their internal things, if they maybe don't even care. I hope that's not what they do, because that would be also really, I don't know, like corporate, heartless company thing to do. But it could happen, so I really don't know. The fact that is that, and I don't really want to sound like a broken record, but I mean, if you go to Switch, if you go to Xbox, you see how all these indie games are thriving. They're always being included in so much sales. In the case of Game Pass, maybe not so many sales, but Game Pass, I recently played The Wild at Heart, which was really amazing. I loved it, and I recommend it. So yeah, it is disappointing, but we have options. So that's all I have to say for now. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like it, share it with your friends, your grandma, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your whatever, everybody, your little brother. Everybody will like it, of course. Why wouldn't they? See you on the next video.